Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user BrilliantProfile163. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister-in-law that breastfeeding is not about her journey, but about her starving baby? Context: we are in Europe, I'm sorry for my English, and also I'm extremely emotional. So, my sister-in-law Julia gave birth to little Amanda 11 weeks ago. From the beginning, Amanda was barely growing, mostly losing weight instead of gaining. My country is heavily pro-breastfeeding and Julia decided that she wanted to breastfeed. However, Amanda wasn't gaining weight properly and landed in 0.1 percentile for weight. Julia forbade me and my mom from coming to visit them. She said we will poison her if we bring her food. It was surprising, especially since before she gave birth, we were good friends. So we only saw little Amanda on pictures and videos my brother has been sending to us. And only once my mom said she's worried because Amanda looked like she's hungry. She was crying and writhing, pushing her fists into her mouth. While Julia narrated on the video that this is how a happy baby looks like with a full belly. So, my mom asked if Julia cannot give her a bottle because Amanda still seems hungry. Julia went berserk and cut us off completely. She was pumping, but her supply didn't go up at all. Amanda had a tongue-tied resolve, but it didn't help much. Julia was using donor's milk to top up Amanda's feed through a sonde. I don't know what this thing is called. Now, every week they're visiting a doctor's office for a controlled checkup of the weight. This is where it gets really messy. They were there yesterday, and yesterday my brother called us crying that Amanda is in the hospital. The story went like this. As always, Julia asked my brother to bring her coffee before the weighing appointment while she's using the nursing room to change Amanda's nappy. As always, he did, except this time a nurse went in the middle of it to ask Julia about some paperwork, and the nurse saw that Julia was feeding Amanda from a bottle right before the checkup. The bottle was 150 cc's of milk and it was already half down. The nurse said that Julia was supposed to wait with feeding until after the checkup, and then my brother came in. He got very mad. He said that Julia refused giving Amanda the bottles, so what the F was going on? Then he took the bottle and at the same time Amanda vomited with a very, very thick milk. The nurse went crazy and checked the bottle and it was filled with milk mixed with rice cereal. The doctor, who's been called to see it, immediately ordered moving Amanda to the hospital for an emergency checkup, especially after seeing Julia, who went berserk. She started throwing stuff around and yelling at everyone that she will be feeding her baby however and whenever she wants. We went to the hospital to see my brother. Amanda already had her blood tests done and they showed some problems with kidneys, liver, vitamins level and iron. The doctor said she has been starving for a long time and why nobody from our family reacted. We told him the story about Julia claiming that we will poison her, so the doctors immediately took Julia for a psych evaluation for postpartum depression. But turns out she was faking it. She admitted to the doctor she was super scared that somebody might take the baby from her, that her friend told her that if she fakes PPD, we will leave her alone and she will have peace of mind during her breastfeeding. The doctors then told her that what she did was not okay and that she was regularly stuffing the baby with milk and cereal before the weight checkup so as to pretend that Amanda grew, and that she should just give Amanda bottles with formula because this is about the little girl's life and survival as she's now failed to thrive and her life and health are in danger. Julia got very mad. She yelled that she will either breastfeed Amanda or she won't feed her at all and that the choice is only hers because this is her baby and nobody else's. Now this is when the doctors told Julia that either she will go for another psych evaluation or they call the police. Julia agreed for the evaluation and they locked her for a week. My brother is working 14 hours per day because they are poor, and after their wedding, Julia decided she wants to be a traditional wife and he has to earn their living. So my brother said that whatever Julia is doing, it must be right. But after seeing what was happening, he got super mad. He said that she starved Amanda on purpose for her own sick satisfaction, even though he was working hard on providing money so they would be able to buy formula if needed. He said he wanted divorce and full custody over Amanda. We don't know if he will get it because it's rare for dads to take care of their daughters. Also, the doctors are mad at him that he didn't notice what Julia was doing. Before Julia went to the ward, I got angry and told her that she made monsters out of us and that we were just worried about her and Amanda, and that the whole situation was only about Julia and her breastfeeding journey and not about Amanda's life. She called me a bitch and said I should have died in childhood because nobody can love an autistic person like me. Am I the a-hole? Okay, OP, you're not the a-hole, and I think you know you're not the a-hole. And Julia is not only an a-hole, but she's a crazy a-hole that doesn't need to be around her baby. I hope your brother does get full custody, even though it must be hard, but he can definitely prove that Julia is incapable of taking care of a baby. And he's got a bunch of witnesses, baby healthcare witnesses at that. How much of a narcissist or a self-absorbed idiot do you have to be to starve your baby because of your journey? People like Julia piss me off, the kind that would harm their child for selfish reasons like this. Anyway, OP, know that you're not the a-hole and just try to help your brother and Amanda as much as you can. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Professor Distinct 835 says, not the a-hole. Julia is very mentally ill and was willing to kill her baby to maintain some weird illusion. And Opie responds, the doctors say she may have schizophrenia or some kind of psychosis or very dangerous mania, but if after the evaluation they find nothing, she probably won't get Amanda back. Tatiana Churroban says, this is heartbreaking to read. Your niece's health should always come before your sister-in-law's pride or desire to exclusively breastfeed. It sounds like the doctors are finally stepping in, which is good, but your brother really needs to wake up and advocate for Amanda before things get worse. And Opie responds, he admits he made a lot of mistakes. He said he always trusted Julia and wanted the best for her and Amanda. He says he hates himself for what happened. My mom said we'll help him financially as much as we can. I also hope Julia will be okay. I really liked her before everything that happened, and she was always kind to me and was never bothered that I'm autistic, but mostly I pray for Amanda. Sparkling Wine 23 says, Julia needs to be in a mental institution for a while for Amanda's health. Clearly, she isn't making rational decisions based on the best interest of her child. Your brother should document everything, get affidavits from the doctors and nurse who witnessed this behavior and onto court to get temporary custody or a restraining order or whatever the equivalents are in your country. Because keeping Amanda away from Julia for a while is critical. Support your brother as much as possible. And Opie responds, she will be locked for a week and then we will see what happens. We're very anxious. And Real Crusader King says, not the a-hole. The fact that she accused you of wanting to poison her food and cut you off makes it pretty clear she was never acting rationally. Her breastfeeding or nothing attitude shows she cared more about control than her child's well-being. It's harsh, but your brother needs to recognize this and prioritize Amanda over trying to keep Julia happy. Additional information from Opie's comments. I know that some women are very sensitive about breastfeeding. I did ask other subreddits about this and they were very clear about it. That's why I asked. And the question was if what I said to Julia about breastfeeding not being about her and her journey and feelings and experiences made me an a-hole. I know she's a bad person for starving Amanda. I wish I was stronger to do something about it earlier, but women here on other subreddits told me that Julia knows best because she's a mother. I don't like hurting people, but I care about our little Amanda, and I think she's the most important one in here, and not Julia and her breasts. Well, of course, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and that Julia absolutely sucks. But I do understand OP's confusion if she went to other subreddits and everyone told her that Julia was right because she was a mom. In any case, we have an update, so let's move on with that to see how this story ends. I got so many comments under my original post and so many private messages that I'm unable to reply to each and every one, so I figured I'll post an update. First of all, our little Amanda is doing good and stays in the hospital. She's being fed with formula and bottles. My brother had to agree to this and since yesterday gained 30 grams. She had more tests done and were waiting for the results. The doctors are also worried about the fact that Julia force-fed Amanda with cereal mixed with donor's milk before the appointment because apparently it can cause some problems with digestive system in the future, especially that they don't know for how long she's been doing it and she doesn't want to admit it. Second, thank you all for your support. Also, thank you for the comments stating that we let Amanda down and put her in danger. Me and my mom realized it and we feel terrible about it. Some people were questioning what happened because my previous post in other groups stated that Julia is feeding Amanda and that she's doing everything she can to provide milk for her. And yes, that is true. This is what we knew at the time. We didn't know Julia decided that it's either breast milk or nothing at all. She only said this in front of the doctors. My brother took vacation at work and most of his time he stays with Amanda, but he will be moving in with us. All this time he's been working and later doing overtime under the hand and he feels exhausted but says he has no other choice. He promised he will do everything he can to be a good father. We don't have any information about Julia, but no matter what, we worry about her. She's our family as well. She doesn't have her own family. She said before the wedding that she and the rest of her family had a fight and they cut her off. So she's alone in this world and we felt very sorry for her. We did manage to get in touch with one of Julia's friends, Linda, who was donating milk to her. Linda was terrified with the story and admitted she was the one who told Julia to pretend that she's afraid of us poisoning her. All of it because Linda's mother-in-law was demanding to visit them after the birth, so she used this excuse for people to leave her alone. And apparently, Julia said to Linda before giving birth that Amanda is only hers and only she has the right to hold her and Michael, my brother, if really needed. I don't understand this because my mom never asked to hold Amanda. In the hospital 2 days ago, it was the first time we saw Amanda in real life. Linda also told us that she introduced Julia to the Milk League and there she found out all the bad things about formula and bottle feeding. Also, it turns out she never wanted to vaccinate Amanda, but my brother forced her to. Linda said she recommended Julia a couple of lactation consultants who apparently weren't really educated consultants. They were just some women with Instagram accounts claiming to know a lot about breastfeeding. But the most important thing to me is that Amanda is safe with the doctors and nurses. Additional information from OP's comments. I also wanted to add a few more things that came up after my last post. Julia has been admitted to the hospital for a week of psychiatric evaluation, but we don't know what will happen next. The doctors asked my brother to do certain things and he will try. They also said that some mental illnesses can run in families and asked him to get more information, but since we have never seen her relatives before and Julia cut them off years ago, it's complicated. Finally, just to be clear, I'm telling this story from my perspective. I wasn't there for everything and I don't know all the details. Julia has cut us off and we don't have the right to call a doctor's office and ask about a baby that isn't ours. The information I've shared comes directly from my brother since he is her husband and he's the one the doctors are speaking with. Well, OP, as you said, the only important thing here is that Amanda is being taken care of. And hopefully, whatever Julia did doesn't have any long-term repercussions for her life. Thanks so much for sharing, OP, and here's wishing you, and Amanda particularly, the best in the future. Thanks for sharing and take care. And now, let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user dapperleg9970. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my mother-in-law's help once the baby arrives? I, 34 female, entered the relationship with one child, 16 male, while my husband, 37 male, has no children. After several attempts and extensive genetic testing, we are finally pregnant with a healthy baby girl. Initially, when my mother-in-law asked to plan the baby shower, I agreed, and it seemed like a no-brainer, especially since we have gotten along well for the past 12 years. I am currently pursuing my bachelor's in psychology, and when my mother-in-law began to plan the baby shower, I was too busy with work and school to really participate. I told my husband that I was getting overwhelmed, and he told her to wait until our semester ended to begin planning. She did not listen and continued to call me, bombarding me with her desires. Every time I attempted to give my input, she would shoot my ideas down, prompting me to have a separate baby shower for just my family. When the semester ended, my husband asked if we could just have one baby shower and that his mom would be flexible to the changes that I want. I hesitantly agreed, which was probably one of the worst decisions I have made. Did I forget to mention that this is my mother-in-law's first grandchild? So, now that the planning process is underway, I noticed that my mother-in-law had not actually planned a baby shower, but a backyard reveal. She did not invite anyone from my generation, refused to allow children to attend, ordered catered food that I cannot eat, and did not buy any decorations. All she did was landscape her yard. When I expressed my concerns to my husband, he spoke with his mom, and she pretended to agree with what I want, but secretly had her own vision all the while. Yesterday, she asked me to come over and give my input on where to put stuff, and when I was there, she blatantly ignored everything I wanted. I expressed that it felt less about the baby shower and more about her showing off her yard and that my feelings were getting hurt. She straight up told me that she did not care and would not accommodate my wishes. When I spoke to my husband about it, he immediately took her side and said I just hated his mom and wanted to take the shine away from her. He went on and on about how she helped us over the years and how I sounded ungrateful, ignoring all that I have done for her in return over the years. I proclaimed that I love his mom and that this occasion should not be about her, it should be about us having a baby. After 45 minutes of arguing and crying, he eventually came around and agreed to speak to her for me, but the damage had already been done. I now feel like he will always take her side over mine and rethinking allowing her to help with the baby altogether. Meanwhile, he keeps pushing her on me. I asked him if he was ready to stay in the hospital with me for 3 to 5 days after the C-section, and he caught me totally off guard by saying, why can't his mom and sister take a day? When I expressed that I do not want visitors before the baby is fully vaccinated, he said he wanted to accept all the help he could and that I was sounding crazy for not wanting help during my time off from work. I told him that I do want help, but from him, and did not want to be pawned off on his family. I am now 34 weeks pregnant and I'm more stressed than I could have imagined, on top of feeling betrayed by my husband. I cannot shake the feeling that if I allow her to watch the baby, she will not follow any rules that I have in place. So am I the a-hole for not wanting her to help with the baby after she is born? No, OP, you're not the a-hole. It is your husband and yours baby, but that is a 2 yes, 1 no kind of situation. And if you don't want it, then it's just a no. I'm sorry. Also, regarding the baby shower, if you're so annoyed by everything your mother-in-law is doing, which sounds like it's terribly annoying, don't go. Maybe she'll change her tune once the whole party theme, which is supposed to be you and the baby, is not there anymore. And finally, I think you need to sit down with your husband and ask him where he stands. And the answer has to be by his wife, you. So no, OP, not the a-hole. And really, this husband situation, that's the thing you should be focusing on. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Chura Potatoes says, not the a-hole. They've never done anything that you actually wanted. You've had a kid before. You know the game plan. You know that these people will not be helping you. You need to have a sit-down discussion with your husband. Whose kid is this again? His mom's or yours? He needs to stand by you, not by his mom. Also, security is pretty good at hospitals and will keep anyone you don't want there out. Use them. Also, congratulations and try not to stress too much. Painfully Ridiculous says, you have a husband problem, not a mother-in-law problem. I think it's both. And United Manor 20 says, not the a-hole, you are spot on. I'm not sure how he hit this side so well before pregnancy. Plan your own shower the way you want it. Either she comes or she does not. It is about you and your baby. Tell the nurses no visitors except your son and husband. He cannot override that. This is likely going to be a deal breaker depending on if he continues this path or if he changes course. Please put yourself, your mental and physical health and your baby's health first. Well, of course the community agrees OP is not the a-hole and that she really needs to sit down with her husband to talk this out. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Thank you all for the advice. After taking a few days to chew on your responses and feedback from my family, I decided to take a page from mother-in-law's book and take over her garden party. I invited about 50 of my own guests from my generation, had my sister cook food that I can eat, which is challenging with gestational diabetes, and ordered decorations that actually say baby shower. I went no contact with mother-in-law until today. She began to discuss the baby shower and what I was planning to change, but I cut her off stating that I could not handle the stress and would just let my sister handle everything tomorrow. I also told her that her son should be the point of contact because we do not want to stress out the baby. I also plan to have my son stay with me for a day in the hospital, and my 2 older sisters will also both take a day instead of his family. And that OP should be phase 1. Then you just gotta keep sidelining the mother-in-law until she finally gets the message. Hopefully your husband will get it soon before that, or else it could turn ugly. In any case, OP, here's wishing you the best. Take care and thanks for sharing. And now let's finish this video with a quick mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliant, and it's by user Deleted. You cannot use your allotted meal budget to tip. I travel for work, and my company agreement is that I get a set amount for food every day. I don't have a knack for fancy foods, so I typically just get what I get and tip heavily to maximize the dollar amount. This was never a problem in the past until my company got acquired and the new company is aggressively cutting costs. Someone from HR emailed me to tell me I was financially on the hook for tips. I couldn't expense them anymore. So now, I just buy the food I eat from the grocery store, eat cheaply, and spend the rest on donuts and coffee for all my co-workers everywhere I travel. There is a set budget for food every day. If you're going to be a penny-pinching piece of crap, I will find ways to spend that money within our agreement to give to others. Next time, I think I'll feed the homeless. Need I remind my company that I'm doing them a favor by traveling because they don't want to pay full-timers in these areas. Don't be cheap. Well, OP, where there's a will, there's a way. And you definitely found the way. Thanks so much for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.